Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mothers have practically built themselves. Hello folks, it's Mad Dog Merv and welcome to today's show. Today I'm sitting on my veranda and I'm enjoying a cup of coffee and my breakfast. And I'm thinking about how close we are to the startup of school. And well, this year I don't have to go back and do what I used to do for 42 years before I retired. So as I contemplate some of these different schools that I worked at over the years, there's a couple of schools I never did get to work at because they got closed up and torn down before I even went to work. So we're talking about some schools that were here in Salt Lake City a very long time ago. And a couple of them were really close together here on the west side of Salt Lake City. There was a really nice elementary school, beautiful, sat on a corner, and with hardly any homes around, well, it was kind of a beacon to the west side. A few years later, there was need for a junior high school in that area, so just a block and a half west, they built a big, beautiful junior high school. And today we're going to take a look at Riverside Elementary and Jordan Junior High School, the old buildings that are no longer there. But come with me and let's see what this is all about.
Riverside School was built in the fall of 1898, initially consisting of 8 rooms. It was located on the corner of 600 South and 900 West in Salt Lake City. In the first few years, the enrollment increased to such an extent that 14 rooms were added to the rear of the main building. By September of 1910, bringing the total square footage of this building to 36,906 square feet. Some of the interesting tales of the old Riverside School include: in 1917, a parent-teacher association was organized. This organization took the initiative in obtaining the Chapman Branch Library for the people residing in the southwestern part of the city. To satisfy the requirements of the Carnegie Fund Association, the Parent-Teacher Association was required to raise between $500 and $600 for the purchase of the lot for the present site of the library. During this period, the Riverside School had the distinction of having the first soup counter established in the Salt Lake City schools. In 1916, children were served a bowl of hot soup and 2 slices of bread for 2 cents. A teacher over domestic science who took charge of this service. The hot lunch became so permanent that 2 women were employed to assist in the work. The Board of Education furnished the dishes and utensils. The receipts covered all expenses. All of this time also the principal, with the assistance of the PTA president, made contacts with public-oriented dentists who gave free service to children whose parents were unable to pay for dental work. Chairs were placed in the window of the office where, at frequent intervals, 2 doctors carried out the worthwhile project. This free service to children covered a period of 2 or 3 years. Before cement sidewalks came to the area around World War I, it was impossible in early spring to walk from the car to the school, a distance of 1 block, without the use of rubber boots. Even the streetcars got stuck in the mud. In the late 19th and early 20th century, schools began and ended each day with a teacher or a principal ringing a handbell. At Riverside, it wasn't until 1940 that an electric bell system started the school day. Before cement sidewalks came to the area around World War I, it was impossible in the early springtime. This picture is of the building that was added on the west side of the main building, the 14-room extension that was built by or finished by 1910. And you can see in this picture the layout of how the original building was. There was the heating plant, and then looks like an office, a hallway area, and then that 14-room extension on the back there. I love these Sanborn fire insurance maps. But you can see where the Jordan River is just west of the plot of land. And here is a look at the original plot site. This picture here is taken looking east of the addition to the back side of the main building. This is that original, or I should say that extra. You can see also there was a manual training building on the site. So in the 1930s, enrollment peaked at slightly over 700. Wow, that's a lot for this building. However, by the late 1960s, attendance had declined to below 500 students. A decision was made, and in June of 1972, the school was closed due to declining enrollment. On January 3, 1974, the building and the 3.78 acres site was sold to the LDS Church for $95,000. Today, a senior citizen high-rise center occupies the site of the former school. This picture from the county's or the city's records when they were laying sewer pipe down the middle of 6 South there, and you can see the old Riverside School there. Unfortunately, I don't have very many pictures of the old Riverside. However, I have even fewer pictures of Jordan Junior High School. Jordan Junior High School sat at 1040 West and 600 South, and pretty much right in the middle of 600 South, kind of dead-ended right into where the you see the building here. In 1965, it had an enrollment of only 480 students, so for a junior high, that's not a whole lot. Originally, it was a 71,855 square foot building that was constructed in 1920 and ready for the 1921 school year. It had additions made in 1929, 1955, and 1962. This original building that you see here consisted of an office, a shop, domestic science rooms, and 9 standard classrooms. But in 1924, it became necessary to use portable buildings to care for the increased enrollment. In 1929, an addition was made consisting of a cafeteria, 2 manual training shops with stock and finishing rooms, a music room, a bookkeeping room, a typewriting room, an art room, and 2 gymnasiums with appropriate shower and locker facilities for boys and for girls. And those rooms were also used, or I should say the boys was also used as an auditorium. This particular shot is interesting. It's looking south behind the building, and you can see the Jordan River here. Originally, it made a nice left turn right here, went up in front of the building, across the front, and then made a right turn and came back about this area in the back. Well, there was a bridge that you could take at the end of 6 South to walk across, and you can see it here in this particular picture, the area where the bridge was. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture of that bridge. So, kind of a funny place to build a building right there. In 1952, the west side of Salt Lake flooded due to some heavy rains, and the banks of the Jordan River just overflowed. So right after that happened, they undertook a project to take some of these kinks out of the Jordan River, several up in the north end by 600 North, and this particular one here, which they should have done in the first place, in my opinion. But the river currently runs behind what would have been the building here, and that whole loop has been taken out. Now, this aerial photograph, I honestly don't know when it was taken, but obviously prior to the moving of the river. You can see on the right hand side, far right hand side, you can see the old Riverside Elementary School. So you understand why I did both of these together, because the elementary was really just a block away from the junior high. Now the junior high operated until 1982. By then, enrollment was just dropping in Salt Lake City to a point where they couldn't justify keeping it open. So it was closed as a junior high. It was sold. I believe it was used police training. It was used for several other things for a few years. But anyway, it was eventually demolished and is now a bunch of homes. So thank you for joining us, folks, and we hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you again soon.